Hello, Roger Cuthbert here. Welcome to the Houston District Photographic Society's In Isolation competition, week 11. The theme this week is Splash. We've had 10 rounds with a mix of winners, some featuring more regularly than others. Let's see what happens this week. Our guest judge this week sees the return of club stalwart Brian Fleming, who also thought of the theme for this week's round. At great expense, Brian will try and read his own comments. At the end, we'll see just how well he did on our bloopers page.
Splash. Wow, I'm not disappointed at this week's offerings. Some of you have been very inventive and creative, and it will be difficult to pick a winner this week. I'm beginning to wonder if this could be the new normal standard of image creation. After setting the subject, I wondered if it was not a tad too off the wall, but you have all come up trumps and produced some wonderful and beautiful images. I really had fun getting my images, as I'd never tried anything like this before. I hope you all had the same fun producing yours. As usual, these are my own opinions, and you are free to disagree with my final choices and comments. Photography, after all, is subjective. Park El Cubano. A lovely, well-exposed image. Not easy, as these waterfalls are usually in dark and damp places. I like the framing on the left-hand side, which holds the image in, and the foliage in the bottom right draws your eye to the waterfall itself. The water has been handled well, not burnt out, but perhaps, just perhaps, a little too much motion. For me, though, the splash is not as prominent as some of the other images. 1001 splashes or perfect weather for fishing. Full marks for taking your camera out in the rain. I only hope you're in some sort of shelter I've seen fishermen in at the sides of lakes and rivers. I can't complain about the lack of splash in this image, as the title states 1001. I've not counted them, but I will take the author's words. I like the inclusion of the reeds on the left, and the foliage and island at the top of the image hold it in, but there is nothing to hold my interest for too long. It well suits the subject, but in the present company lacks the punch of some of the other images. Ben braves the sea. Ben looks like he's having fun, but the water looks cold, judging from his expression. You've captured a nice splash, but I feel most of the image does not contribute much to the subject. Try a tight square crop just around Ben, and the splash I think you'll find will make it a stronger image. The weather does not look that bright, and the water lacks a bit of sparkle, but what there is could be enhanced in post-processing. Pleasing image. Blue Whirlpool. Lots going on here, and I love the tones you've captured within this image. I can only guess what it is. Wave breaking, bottom of a waterfall, inside your washing machine. Whatever it is, it has impact and lots of shapes. I can see a chicken head, or is it a dog's face? Roland Rat makes an appearance in the middle. Great capture, and all the better for going in tight. Boys take to the water. You don't normally associate this type of image with monochrome, as it looks quite a bright, vibrant scene, and you'd usually expect to see blue seas and golden sands. However, this is how it has been presented. Again, I find the splash element of the image quite small, but I do like the splash in the bottom right corner, still in the air, long after the boy's foot has gone. They must have been running at some speed. Very much a silhouette image. I do like the highlights on the shoulders and arms, which have been well controlled, but would like to have seen just a little detail in their faces. Cow in purple. Well captured and well lit, and not too many attempts at capturing this scene, as the table looks fairly dry. I like the colour you have chosen for the liquid, and you have captured the splash just right. The background is unobtrusive and well lit. I'm not bothered about the sharp division between the background and the tabletop, as the neutral grey blends with the green and is also softened by the reflections. Lovely image. Dropping water. A moment frozen in time that looks like glass. Well lit from both sides, with a hint of red in the reflection. Possibly the infrared light of the flash sensor. but because of the graduated green of the background complements the image. Always intriguing as to will the following drops hit the upcoming splash to create the classic collision shot. It can happen, but usually you need a precise dropper to do this. A nice tight frame on the drop, concentrating all our attention on what you want us to see. Explosive. I hope you can add that no images were harmed in the production of this image. Well lit with a jet black background that suits the image. Great capture of the splash, enhanced by the egg dragging down air bubbles around it as it plunges into the water. Love the rim light on the surface of the water, really adds to the image. Top class lighting and capture. Ferns and moss. I like the layered look of the image with the ferns in shaded areas and textures leading down to the water splashes at the bottom. I also like the use of a slower shutter speed to blur the splashes and streak the falling water. Well exposed and sharp where it needs to be. Frame 353. Yes, probably the going rate to get one capture. Again frozen in time and looking like glass, with a hint of lava erupting from a volcano. The streaks in the background where the flash speed has not been brief enough to freeze the action added to that scenario. The crown is a little soft in focus, again probably due to too long a flash duration, but the spike is pin sharp. Red gel on the lights add to the overall image. How to make a strawberry milkshake. Very creative image. A lot of thought has gone into the making of this image, with each element well exposed and pin sharp, and all the action frozen with the flash. Very clever to have thought of colouring the milk stroke cream as the strawberry falls and progresses along to the final image where the strawberry has turned into a milkshake. And the key line picked out in the same colour as the milkshake is a nice touch. What's not to like about this image? Well, as I mention it, and this is really the nitpickiest of nitpicks, how nice would it have been to capture a shot of the strawberry in the first image in the same aspect as the one in the second. That is, with the point up and the stalk pointing down. A real nitpick, as I say, a beautiful image. Just a splash for me, please. This also is a very thoughtful image, not concentrating on freezing drops bouncing up, but capturing them as they fall from the bottle. It must have been incredibly difficult to get the bottle balanced just right to dispense one drop at a time, and then capture it before the tea was too milky. Good exposure, nice tight crop on the subject, and unobtrusive background. Another excellent shot. Lemon drop. Another shot I'm sure was captured at the second attempt, as there is not much splashed liquid laying on the tabletop. You should have seen my tabletop after a couple of hundred attempts. I like the choice of colour combinations in the image. Blue and yellow always work well together. I also like the graduation of the background as well as the subtle shadow of the glass. You have caught the action just right with a lovely splash frozen by the flash. Just another nitpick though, as the image seems to be a bit on the wonk. The horizon of the table is not quite level and the glass seems to have a lean to the right. Lemon splash. Another variation on the lemon theme, this time with a jet black background. On second looking, this could be a lime. Whatever, another beautifully caught image. I wonder how many attempts you took to get this. The splash is nice, as is the air bubbles dragged down with the fruit. I'm loving the green reflections from the lime into the bottom of the air bubbles as they rise. Exposure and focus spot on, horizon above the midpoint of the print, all add up to another great image. I said this was going to be hard to judge and pick a winner. More ice, sir. I hope this was tea in the glass and not real whiskey or rum, which would have been a waste. The splash has frozen well, creating a crown-like feel to it. Pity the splash comes out of the image at the top. The background just right for this image as it reflects some light back through the liquid. I also like the textured surface on which the glass stands. 1, 2, splash. This triptych tells us a story. A bit of fun going on here, with the gent in the image decides to throw a young lady in the pool. Unbeknown to him, he is also about to be pitched in. This really works well, as you can follow the action as well as the scene opening up before you. In the first image, you can't see the pool, so can only guess what is going to happen in the second image. Great moment captured. It must have been over in the blink of an eye, so all credit to the author. Well exposed and pin sharp throughout, nicely put together with a neutral grey border separating the images. Oops. Yes, oops, as this image also seems to be leaning to the right, which is so easily corrected. Anyway, that said, it's still a pleasing image, and I like the diagonal the splash has formed. Not so keen on the splash that has escaped the glass, as that has fallen from the point of focus, so it draws the eye. Great choice of colours. Pepper takes a dive. Yes, another great shot. Crisp, well exposed and well lit. Captured at just the right moment again. Loving the key line picked out in the same colour as the pepper. Come on, hands up all of you whose heart sunk when you got the theme for this week thinking, how am I going to do this? Well, you've all come up trumps this week. Another great image. Rotorua Mud Pie. Nature's own splash. I like the textures captured in this image. You get the feel of something thick and sticky. I'm curious about the presentation because at first glance it appears fully monochrome, but looking closely you can see some earth tones in the image, so perhaps some clever use of split toning going on here. However it was done, you do get a sense of action. Splash number 277. Yes, that sounds about right, according to my experience doing this theme. Again, a very glass-like feel to this image, and good choice of coloured gel or post-processing coloration. The middle drop has some of the background caught in its reflection, which is not as sympathetic as some of the other backgrounds which were seen tonight. I think a stronger image appears if you crop off the top of the picture just to show the blue ripple. Splash. Classic double drop effect where you release two drops in close succession, and as the first drop rises, it collides with the second drop, creating the mushroom effect. Quite stunning. I like the point of view on this shot and also the colour of the second drop. Very pastel and suits the subject well. Jet black, unobtrusive background, well lit, well exposed and pin sharp. Again, what's not to like? Storm in a duck pond. Super image created here with lots of humour. Without the ducks, the image would not have been so strong as some of the other images on show tonight. But their inclusion in this image gives it a massive lift. I like the colour of the liquid and the background is unobtrusive. It's also nice to know that there appears to be as much liquid on the table as when I did my shots. So I'm glad I was not the only one to flood the kitchen. Strawberry cocktail. This image is to me a bit underexposed and could have done with a lift with a bit more light. It all tends to merge into the black background. The splash itself is good and the fruit is vibrant and frozen by the flash. Overall composition is good, just needs a bit more light. Strawberry splash. I wonder how many attempts it took dropping two objects into the liquid to get them to go in opposite directions. Or is this a very clever blend of two exposures merged together? Whatever way it was done, the result is different and eye-catching. I like the strawberry reflection in the hollow caused by the drop, but for me, I would like to see this area lightened just a little to balance the light you have on the strawberries. Good frozen splash finishes the image off. Strawberry flash. A nice capture of the splash and strawberry, but we lack a visual reference point as we cannot see the surface of the liquid or the container it was dropped into. So it just looks like the splash and the strawberry are floating in midair. On a positive note, it is well exposed and sharp throughout, and the splash is well frozen. Water droplet. This is very similar to a previous image we had with a bit of background showing along the top of the image. Hopefully you will agree not to have any background showing makes the image much stronger. Yet again, the coloration in this image is very pleasing, and the image overall has a very glassy feel to it. Well exposed and well lit, and I like the way the image softens as it recedes to the back, plus a lovely catch light on the spike. Images held back. As I said, this was going to be a difficult competition to judge, and I have indeed held 6 images back, as I think they all have a lot of merit to them. They are Blue Whirlpool, How to Make a Strawberry Milkshake, 1-2 Splash, Splash with the 2 strawberries, Storm in a Duck Pond, Water Droplet. And the winner is How to Make a Strawberry Milkshake. Well done to the author.
Our winner, and also our longest title of any submitted image in all rounds, is by Lorraine Green. Well done, Lorraine. Well, there we are. Well done to Lorraine, and our thanks to Brian for judging this week, and also providing his own comments, and of course for providing us with a few bloopers. And thank you of course to everyone that entered, and to you for watching. Brian's best bits coming up, so stay tuned.
If I can pronounce them, Park El Cubano. That'll do, won't it? Yeah, Park El Cubano. I'll do that again. I read this through, and this one just completely doesn't make sense at the moment. Okay, I'll go again. I've seen fishermen. Oh, sorry, I'll do it again. The fresh. It's not easy, is it? I like the